Okay, so if you notice, they did subtract. It was, you were supposed to subtract. They first started off with subtracting, but without putting the decimal on the 3. And always remember that there's a decimal on whole numbers at the end. So once she figured out that, oh, well, that answer's not even here, let me go ahead and try the decimal. So they did that, okay? And they put, if you notice, wasn't this feet? Wasn't both of them feet? How can you just change feet to percent without doing anything else? You can't, right? And yes, part of the process is to subtract. But in this case, that's not the only thing. Okay? And you're 7th graders, guys, there's never going to be a problem where all you have to do is subtract unless it's integers. But other than that, if it's percents or anything like that, you do need to do another step. And they will always try to trick you with those, they call them those, what do they call it? Distractors. They're calling distractor answers because you'll see that you have that first step, your answer is going to be there. Don't fall for that. Okay, if you need to cover your answers because that's the only way you're going to be able to go through the process. Okay, so once you have subtracted, what do you have to do next? Say it again. We could divide, but there's another step too. Yeah, do cross product. So you would set it up with the change, which is 1 and 7,500, over the original. What was the original? 3. And that's going to equal to x over 100 because you're looking for percent. So now all we have to do is multiply. So that's going to be 175 divided by 3. So how many times does 3 go into 17? 5 times. Bring down the 5. How many times does 3 go into 25? 8. Now, if you notice, I already have the percent. This doesn't have any decimals, so I'm not going to continue. So my actual answer should be 58%. Okay, so the formula is A equals pi r squared. Okay, now there's 2 scenarios that you'll be given. One is if you're giving the radius. If you're giving the radius, all you have to do is substitute the r. So you're substituting r into r squared, which means just radius times radius. Then you multiply by 3.14 or 3. And you have your area. Now the other scenario is when they give you the diameter. Okay? And remember, radius is from the center to the edge. Diameter is from end to end. Okay, remember, and it has to go through the center. Now, if they give you diameter, first you have to divide diameter by 2 to get the radius. Once you get the radius, then you go ahead and substitute r squared, which means radius times radius. Then you multiply by 3.14 or 3. Let's go ahead and practice the circles. So in this case, number 1 is giving you what? Which is means what? What is it? The radius or diameter? Radius. Okay, so areas in terms of pi. So that means I'm gonna have to go ahead and substitute my formula. So we are giving radius, so I'm gonna go ahead and write A because we don't have A. I'm leaving pi on its own, because remember I told you leave this cert to the end. And then radius is 10 squared. But remember, 10 squared means that it's what?
10 times 10?
Yeah, 10 times 10. Okay, so that means in terms of pi, it's going to be 100 pi. So we're going to write that on this blank. But then it's asking you to use 3.14. So we're going to go ahead and substitute. Okay, and all we have to do is multiply that. So if we multiply it, 100 times 3.14. I could just add the zeros. 314, there's 2 decimal places. So my answer is 314 centimeters squared. And we're done. Okay, for the second one, you're given what? Diameter. And what do we do when we're given diameter? Divide by 2 first. So that means 10 divided by 2 is 5. So basically, when they give you diameter, the formula is D over 2 is equal to R. But we already have that, it's 5. So now we're going to use 5 in our formula. So area is equal to pi radius squared. And if you notice, I always write the formula first before I start substituting. So that's going to be 5 squared. And 5 squared means what?
5 times 5.
5 times 5, which is 25 pi. So we did it in terms of pi. Now we're going to go ahead and continue. So now I'm going to go ahead and substitute pi with 3.14. And now we multiply. So 5 times 4.
20.
5 times 1 plus 2.
7.
5 times 3.
15.
Add a 0. 2 times 4.
8.
2 times 1.
2.
2 times 3.
6.
And then we add. So that means my answer is 78 and 0.5. Was it centimeters?
C. Wait, yes.
And that's our answer. So we actually did it in both ways in terms of pi and using 3.14. Now, can we use 3 instead of 3.14? Yes, but are you going to get the amount you're going to see in the answer choices? No. Because you could do 25 times 3, and that gives you 75, right? But if you notice, isn't the actual answer 78.5? It's 75 and a little more. So you could use 3 as long as you remember that it has to be that number and a little more. Okay? Because you really won't see it there, but you could use it. Because remember, that's an estimation. Oh, your assignment is going to be another maze. Yes, I know you love mazes. But remember, with those mazes, basically you have your answer choices. It's like a multiple choice worksheet where you're solving it and then looking for the answers. So make sure you glue in this quick check in your composition book. Tomorrow, we're gonna practice all of them, which is circumference to area, like I showed you yesterday. So that way on Thursday, when you have your test, you'll be able to do this easily.